uh, it's not raining right now. When I was in Mumbai, it used to rain like every day. Bangalore, it's less few rain here, but good weather, very good weather here. Um, Today's session is basically we will look at the demo of ONDC. There's a lot of activity happening in ONDC right now. And what we will show to you is sort of, you can imagine not the, the production version of everything, but in some ways, phase one alpha version of ONDC demo you can expect here. Um, a lot of things are happening ONDC. So unfortunately, or fortunately, the things basically uh, have to happen in a certain fashion. And today's demo is basically is what we are going to show is on the staging ONDC. Now in ONDC, basically there are three things, three stages through which you have to go through. One is a staging stage, which is where you are sort of, working with different in a network where people are still developing things. People are, still trying to figure out, what is what and those kind of stuff. And once you have, done your 10 APIs, that are required for ONDC, then you move to a pre-production stage where basically you are now, compliant with the APIs. And you basically are now testing more like onboarding and other nuances of ONDC. And then there's the production phase where basically ONDC says, okay, now you are good to go. You basically can now transact on ONDC. So so today's demo is on the staging environment. It's a staging network of ONDC. What you're saying is sort of an early version, which you may not be, seeing elsewhere. But I thought I'll make that very clear that this is not a production ONDC. This is not where, we will say that okay, the transactions are happening on the final ONDC network, which is the main network, which basically is where, the all the activities will happen. So that's the first thing I thought I'll clarify. Um and the second thing basically is I'll take you through few other things before I jump into the demo. I'll take you through for people who may not know ONDC, ONDC, what is ONDC, or may not be aware of ONDC. I'll take like 5 minutes just to brush up what ONDC is, what the ecosystem is, and then we basically will get into the demo part. Any questions on the starting phase? Anything you have questions, please type in the Q&A chat session, and we will try to answer it as soon as possible. I'll try to ensure that I can answer almost all the questions. We got a lot of questions in these sessions. These sessions is where you can get answers to questions basically which may be on top of your mind and you're not sure, okay, what is this, what is that, and we'll definitely try to answer that uh, you know quickly, with whatever knowledge we have. Still, a lot of things are fluid in ONDC, so things sometimes, some things change. So whatever knowledge, to the best knowledge that we have, we'll try to give it to you. So yeah, so basically, ONDC is an initiative by Indian government, amazing network, amazing potential. Uh, it's basically idea is to increase e-commerce penetration in India. Very exciting stuff because you are looking at a huge consumer base which is coming, which is going to participate on the consumer side, and a huge seller base which is going to participate on the supply side. Just from the numbers point of view, there's a lot of buzz. You might have heard of it, so I'll not go through that. uh, Basically 300 to 500 million customers, 30 से 50 करोड़ customers ONDC को use करने, it's expected they will use it, right? And that is huge. There isn't any platform today जहाँ पे someone can claim कि 50 crore customer आते हैं. It's like 40-50% of, close to 35 to 40% of Indian population transacting, and basically not only transacting but actively transacting. you know so it's huge from a consumer perspective. 100 crore से, 100, more than 100 crore orders per month we expect to come on ONDC network. And that is what makes it exciting, that such a large scale network where no one is controlling. See, one thing is about ONDC is कोई control नहीं कर रहा है. No one is controlling this as such. It's open network. Anyone can come in, anyone can go out. Of course, there's some policies, there's some guidelines. They're basically regulatory guidelines. Then they're basically network policy guidelines. How should you operate in the network? And then there, of course, the contract between the buyer and the seller. The three policies that you need to, three layers of policy that you need to abide by. But good part is कि आप में से कोई भी इसमें पार्टिसिपेट कर सकता है. ऐसा कोई रेस्ट्रिक्शन नहीं है कि अमेजोन में जाएंगे कोई बोलेगा रिजेक्टेड, फ्लिपकार्ट में जाएंगे वो बोलेंगे नहीं, यू डोंट हैव दिस, रिजेक्टेड. ऐसा नहीं है. ओनली थिंग इज ऑफ कोर्स यू हैव टू बी रियल पार्टिसिपेंट. यू कैन नॉट बी अ just coming there for fun. But if you're a real participant, you have an opportunity to participate in network which is open and transparent. Now, other thing which a lot of people ask us, बहुत लोग बोलते हैं कि अमेजोन पे मेरा प्रोडक्ट दिखता ही नहीं है, मेरा प्रोडक्ट फ्लिपकार्ट पे दिखता नहीं है क्योंकि वहाँ पे बड़े बड़े सेलर्स के प्रोडक्ट दिखते हैं, मेरे नहीं दिखता. Now, one of the things which ONDC is taking care of is the smallest seller. It's made for the smallest. A large thing is being made for the smallest person. I think that is one of the things which you should take away. If you're not aware, is that जो भी policy बन रही है, whatever policies are getting created, they're getting created from the eye of कि small seller participate कर पाए, उसका product कहीं पे हिडन ना हो, कोई बोले कि नहीं इसको नहीं दिखाना, कोई बोलेगा इसको मेरे को एडवर्टाइज करके मैं उसको पुश करता हूँ, इसको नहीं दिखाऊंगा, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. As long as your product are genuine, as long as your products are good quality and you are a genuine seller, आपको कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगी ONDC में, right? So that is basically one of the highlight of ONDC, that it's made for the smallest of the seller. And there is no, and the good part is there is no fee right now. ONDC का कोई fee नहीं है. It's like UPI 0%. Of course ONDC has a fee component कि they may charge in the future, but as of today there isn't any fee. It's 0%, right? The only thing fee is either on the buyer app side or the seller app side, but there's no platform fee. There's no this is no nothing like to participate in this you have to have a fee or those kind of stuff, right? So it's a great thing. It's a great network, and ये चीज इंडिया में ही हो रही है. Basically, other thing which you should be proud of, that this is happening in India only. This kind of open network where everyone can participate. It is not there anywhere in the world. कहीं पे है ही नहीं है. It's an innovation out of India, right? So you should feel proud of it, and it's a great opportunity. Personally, we are very excited as company, and personally, I myself is very excited. This is happening, and hyper local is one thing that you should also look at in this in ONDC. कि जो deep मोहल्ला level commerce है, वो major jump मारेगा इसमें. That is one of the insights. So that's something that I don't have to give it to you. You can see it yourself when you are part of ONDC. Ki hyper local commerce will take a very big leap. 10 times, 20 times, 100 times, so neighborhood, economies will go up. Mohalla ka economy will go up, right? So that is something I think is very exciting, when you look at ONDC. Now, ONDC, if you look at ONDC, very simple architecture. एक buyer app side है, एक seller app side है. There is a side जहाँ पे buyer की applications है, एंड उनका काम सिर्फ होता है कि मार्केटिंग करो और कस्टमर्स को लेके आओ. And they don't worry about the supply part, because supply part is taken care by the seller app side. The seller apps हैं, seller के applications हैं, वो supply लेके आते हैं, and basically that supply is getting sold on the buyer app side. Now that distinction is very important in ONDC. So as a company, as someone who is doing business, you need to think कि which role you want to play. आपको buyer app बनना है कि आपको seller app बनना है? That's the first question anyone will ask in ONDC, कि आप हो क्या, buyer app हो कि आप seller app? And that terminology you need to understand it very carefully, and very, that what role are you playing? Of course, for example, if you are a small kirana store, if you are maybe a D2C brand, right? If you are, if you are a manufacturer, you will play a role on the seller app side, because you probably don't want to spend money to get customers and those kind of stuff, right? Now, if you are someone like Paytm, if you are someone like Google Pay, or someone like maybe ShareChat, or someone like maybe News Hunt or those kind of stuff, जहाँ customers आते ही हैं, जहाँ consumers दिन दिन में करोड़ों customer या लाखों customer आ रहे हैं, उनको basically those are the people who are more likely to come on the buyer app side, and because they already have customers, right? So that distinction is very important, that which part of, which role are you playing, and and that will help in in deciding, what kind of application you should target. Any questions you have, please write to ondc@plotch.ai, and we will happy to answer, or solve your queries and those kind of stuff. Now, coming to the demo part. Now, one thing I want to share is this page that we have built. This page is basically ondc.cloud. ondc.cloud is something that we this page we created so that all the all the ONDC related webinars that we have done, you'll see all the webinars that we have done here are here. Anything that document that we have, in the webinar that we have shared is always here, because a lot of people are asking me कि आपके वेबिनार हुए हैं पहले, वो कहाँ हैं, आपके वो प्रेजेंटेशन कहाँ हैं, all those things. So you go to ondc.cloud, and this is where you can get all the document that we have, ourselves have done, like webinars and presentations that we have done. This is that you can get it here. And so this is something that I thought I'll share. The second thing is basically I wanted to show briefly. Again, all this is now coming from the staging data. This is not production environment. That we have created an analytics page, basically, which is analytics.ondc.cloud, and there basically we are sharing a map of India. Now, this map is very interesting because you can see where the activity of ONDC activity is happening right now, right? So these spots will tell you, where the activity is happening. Currently, of course, Bangalore is the hot spot right now, and a lot of activities happening in the Bangalore region. So there were, you see in the staging environment. I'm not talking about the production right now. So you see, these spots here, and you can go to analytics or to ondc.cloud and see those analytics. We have, shown like category wise data, city wise data. You can see that, Bangalore is of course the highest, and pin code wise, which pin code has, again, this is a Bangalore pin code that you have, and which providers are basically interacting, those kind of stuff. Total searches which are happening, and total on searches. Of course, these searches are in the staging environment, so they're not a lot which is there. but it just gives you a flavor of analytics that can be generated out of ONDC, right? कि किस पिन कोड में कौन क्या सर्च कर रहा है, पार्ले जी कहाँ पे ज्यादा सर्च हो रहा है, सडनली पार्ले जी की सर्चेस बहुत बढ़ गई हैं तो किसी पिन कोड में, तो एनीवन लाइक ए ब्रांड लाइक पार्ले जी विल थिंक ओके, how do I need to supply more Parle G in that pin code, right? Richness of data is which can come out of this network. जहाँ पे uh, of course you cannot share personal information. Personal information cannot come here. कि which person did what and which phone number and which email address. That is out of question because there is a DAPA protocol that data empowerment and privacy that we have, which basically makes sure that any data in the network cannot be shared by on outside in public. But general searches, what search is happening, which pin code, which location, which category, what those things, in analytics can be very interesting. That's something you can also, if you are someone who's an entrepreneur and wants to build something on ONDC analytics, can think of, how do I build something using, analytics in ONDC and create business models which may not be, right now, may not be there, but may become a possibility. Uh, yeah, so this, so now coming, so I've shared the, the doc, ONDC.cloud is where you can go and share, look at all our webinars, previous webinars and presentations. I've shared that analytics.ondc.cloud is where you can see an staging analytics. I'm still not talking about production because that data it still takes some more time. And now coming to the buyer app. Now this is sort of a buyer app that we have created. It's a simple, if you now buyer app. Now one of the interesting things about creating a ONDC buyer app is that the consumer should not feel that, oh, this is a different experience from Flipkart or Amazon, right? So what you will see on the buyer app is going to be, oh, it's like I'm actually on a website and I'm searching and I'm buying and I'm doing add to cart, I'm doing the same thing. So what's different? What's different is that these products that will come are not on this website. There are scattered around in India and maybe in a different locations altogether. But this website is only fetching those results. वो उनसे products को लेके आके show कर रही है. But consumer को नहीं पता है. One of the things which we should always, if you're building something, the consumer should feel the same thing. They can return the product, they can cancel the product, they can use COD, they can, search the product, they can filter the product. So whatever they do on Flipkart, Amazon, Myntra, they should be able to do on a ONDC buyer app, right? So what you will see is going to be very similar, but what is happening in the backend is something I here I cannot show it to you, but it's there on the ONDC. Is coming from the ONDC network, right? So for example, most of the times, we'll search here. Let's say we search for whatever, I search for example, dosa. Now, one thing which is there in ONDC is that the location has to be set. Your location has to be set before you can do anything, because ONDC is very, very location specific. Every product, every provider, every seller app has to give their GPS longitudinal and latitudinal coordinates. So which means that every product location is mandatory in ONDC, right? So you basically, when you say this product is here, that means that this product is available, in this locality, right? So I am looking for products which I can find in Bangalore. That's what basically I can search here. Basically, this is something you can search Mumbai also, and you can set the location. You can search for Delhi. But since a lot of activity is happening on the Bangalore side, so I'll set the location as Bangalore right now. Uh, One sec. Yeah. I think it's Bangalore. Oh, yeah, Bangalore. Yeah. Okay. So I saved the Bangalore, and then I will search here dosa, for example. Right. So these products are now coming from the network. I don't own any of these dosas. This buyer app doesn't own any of these products. These are coming from some seller who is basically sitting on the other side, right? So I got dosa rice, those pepper dosa, masala dosa, for example. And let's say I want to buy this dosa. So I'll click on this product page. Now, here is where you will see a lot of ONDC specific things. And we have tried to show a lot of, data here right now. It basically is telling, what is the provider ID, you know, every ONDC seller will have an ID, which is the provider ID. So this is the provider ID of this seller, right? And this seller, I'll tell you, is this seller, which basically the detail is here. Sorry. It's basically here. Seller details are here. The seller address is here, and where this seller is, you can see it here. It's in somewhere here in Bangalore, somewhere in Koramangala in Bangalore. The seller is there. So this seller provider ID is this. The URI of URL, I don't want to worry about you do URL. Return window. Now these things are important because when you are as a business person, you will need to tell if you know what this means, what are my possibilities, what can I do. Return window is basically here it says 48 hours. That means within 48 hours you can return it. That's what it's saying. So you can specify from the back end that, what is your return window within 24 hours, 10 hours. If you don't want to return, then also there's a setting that you can do that I don't want to return. Right? Time to ship. That means I can ship it in within 1 hour. Now this is important because someone wants urgent, those kind of stuff. How fast can it come? So time to ship is there, which is, I can ship in 1 hour. And a lot of other data is here. What is the category of this? What is the location ID is the location ID of where this seller is, where the product is stored in some ways. And the location ID, there's the address of this location, which basically is this address in this case. Right? So it's coming from 509, whatever, this address. And basically there are a lot of other things are there which basically is available on COD, which is true, which means it's available for COD as per seller. This is available for COD, right? It's returnable, it's true, so it means it can be returned. And it's cancelable, that can be cancelled. So you can specify as a seller if you're a seller app, because this is the data which comes from the seller side, right? Seller is saying that you can cancel this order, which is fine. If you place, you can cancel. And if you want a return, it's possible to return, and COD is available on this. And return pickup, I can also do a pickup. Return pickup is true, which means I can pick up from your doorstep for return, right? Now, these are important things because again, from a consumer perspective, you would want to give all this flexibility, because today's consumers are looking for similar experience as Flipkart and Amazon. So if I can return, if I can cancel, if I can, if COD is available, it's pretty much the same experience that you will get on a Myntra or on Flipkart, right? So this is, and below is basically you see all the similar products. Now again, all this buyer app actually is on Plotch. One thing I want to tell you that this is something that is on Plotch, and it's the lot of features that Plotch has. I will not go in detail right now, but basically you can create these widgets with the similar products and best selling products. All those widgets you can create. So this is one of the widgets, and you can see that, the other products from this seller, this provider, because right now basically is showing the similar products which are coming from the same seller, right? So this is basically is, I thought I'll go in detail into, these attributes and of finer things, because those questions you may have, whether I can cancel, whether I can return, when I can, do I have control on that as a seller? I don't want people, ordering and then canceling, because I don't, for me it's a custom product. So if someone orders, I don't want them to cancel it. So custom, as a custom product, I'll say it's not cancelable from the backend. And of course, the customer has been, told, so buyer app will not allow it to cancel once it's been placed, right? So those things are important. Now, if you just click on buy now, it's the same experience as you go on a website. Now, buy now. Now here, there's another API call which has gone on the network and had hit this seller and has verified, do you have this product? Now, you might not have noticed it here, but this has happened in the backend. That, okay, do you have this product? And this seller, basically, if there's no error here, which means the seller is saying that I have this product, you can go ahead. And the same experience, you go to here, basically, uh, in this, there's another third API which has gone in the backend, which is the Init API. That, here is the address of my customer. Now, of course, I'm logged in here, so my address is automatically attached. But this data is already gone to the seller, and the seller basically has been told that here is the address of this, and the seller has confirmed that they can deliver. All this has happened on the back end. Of course, you don't see it because this is something, this is what customer sees, but that has happened in the back end. And once you place order, basically the same thing, cash on delivery was available, so I could place the order. And then you can also track the order, as you could track anything. Because this is cancelable, I can cancel the order. So I can cancel, and you have to give a reason why you're canceling, and you can cancel, and the product is canceled, right? So it's the same experience to you, basically, from a buyer app. Now, important thing for you to understand from a buyer app perspective, you might have come up with a very different kind of, you know, envision of, what a buyer app is. As you can see, buyer app is same as your website, as any mobile app. The only thing which has happened is that the products are coming not from your website, from other parties, real time, on the real time. It's not coming, so if someone adds any product 2 seconds from now, and if I now search dosa, it actually will show it, right? So it's in real time. There's no lag. There's nothing where someone is stored, and therefore it will come after 1 hour, 2 hours. It comes in real time, right? So that's the basically about buyer app. Now I'll stop here and take some questions, because you might have some questions, how this buyer app or those kind of stuff. So I'll tell you. Yeah. So one question is more details on reputation ledger, please. So reputation ledger, Abhishek, is still work in progress in ONDC. So unfortunately, I cannot tell you a lot about reputation ledger, other than the fact that the reputation ledger is basically is where the buyer and the seller both will be rated, and these ratings will be there for everyone to look at, so that people can filter. Now, one of the things that ONDC is allowing is that you can filter your sellers based on reputation. The 4-5 filters that ONDC is saying that it will allow. One thing is that it will allow location filter, right? So if someone is not shipping in Bangalore, you can filter that seller out. This guy is not, I will not show this seller. Then there is a category filter. So if I don't, I'm a food website, I don't want to show saris. in my website, my buyer app, then basically is reputation, that I will only show sellers whose rating is more than 4 out of 5 or 4.5 out of 5, right? And you as a seller, you know, cannot say that no, I have a rating of 3 and you have to show it. Now that flexibility is there for a buyer app to filter you out. But these are genuinely, you know, these are genuine, filtration, because it's not good to show buyer apps, which is seller apps whose rating is low. I mean, it's a very practical ask for anyone. So yeah, so that's basically the 3-4 things that people will buyer apps can use to filter, and therefore reputation ledger plays a huge role. And that is, reputation is something that you need to make sure the reputation is there, is in good standing, it's not low. Otherwise you may have a serious issue where you cannot participate in the network. Now, the question I have is how will a small Kirana store will get itself launched on ONDC? Will he have to have its app made first? It's a great question. I'll tell you, I get a lot of these questions asked. Ki, ONDC, how do I participate in ONDC? Now, as I said, the 3 phases you have to go through currently, which is the staging and pre-production and production. Now, this is of course a manual process I know, but we are basically a technology service provider. So Plotch is like, it's not, Plotch doesn't have its own seller app or a buyer app. It is helping you create a seller app and buyer app. हम आपको मदद कर रहे हैं कि आप सेलर ऐप और बायर ऐप बना पाए, हमें सेलर ऐप बायर ऐप नहीं बनना है. So जब हम प्रोडक्शन में जाते हैं, when we are almost there in terms of production, is that if we get into production, because we are certified by ONDC to go into production, we can take और retailers जो हमारे प्लेटफॉर्म पे सेलर ऐप एंड बायर ऐप हैं, उनको हम ऑटोमेटिकली ONDC पे ले आ सकते हैं. So that is something that's a benefit of working with partners or technology service providers like Plotch, is that if you have a website on Plotch, it's seamless entry into ONDC for you. Of course, you can directly go to ONDC and build your application based on their APIs, but it has this journey which can take some time, and it can take a lot of effort from your side, right? So as a small kirana store, आपको क्या करना है? आपको, Plotch is one option. There may be other options which may come in future. क्योंकि Plotch पे आप website बनाइए, and basically with single click, and we can show it to you. I'll show it in how you can through Plotch can participate in ONDC. But it's that simple to participate in ONDC through Plotch. Now, what kind of data will be available to seller apps? What kind of data will I'm not able to understand the context of this. The data basically which seller app has is primarily catalog data, and which basically has to go to the buyer app when buyer app searches something. So yeah, so I'm not able to understand the question exactly. When we have platforms for FMCG products, kind of products like Blinkit, Big Basket, and many similar, what differentiation does ONDC has over them? Okay. So yeah, so currently basically customers have option of Big Basket, Blinkit, and those kind of stuff, right? Now the question for us is that let's say assume you have some Jain Kirana store. in your neighborhood, someone who is just below you, and who can also supply you Parle-G and any product that you have. Now today you don't do that because you don't have Jain Kirana store app with you, right? Now you may ask, okay, even if I had Jain Kirana store, there's a Gupta Kirana store, there's a Sharma Kirana store, so सबके app थोड़े मैं download करके रखूंगा, right? Now the beauty of ONDC is that you don't need to download all the apps. You have to download only one app, ONDC buyer app, whatever buyer app you have, right? And you can search Jain Kirana store, you can search your, Gupta Kirana store, you can search your Sharma Kirana store or Singh Kirana store, whatever Kirana store is there close by, right? And you can order. And it may happen that Gupta Kirana store may be cheaper and faster than your Blinkit. The Blinkit में वो बंदा भाग रहा है इधर उधर भाग भाग के वो 10 मिनट 15 मिनट में he is trying his best to deliver to you. Here the guy sitting in your building down, उसको उतना भागना भी नहीं है, right? It's clean for the environment, it's faster, it may be cheaper, right? So no one is saying the Blinkit and Big Basket will disappear because of ONDC. It may happen they themselves become part of ONDC, they may participate because they are, I'm quite sure they, a lot of these companies are thinking of participating in ONDC. What it brings to you as consumer is a wide supply, wide options, and a single place to search. See, it's a super app experience. आपको कुर्ती सर्च करनी है, थोड़े आप मिंत्रा खोलोगे फिर आप सर्च करोगे. अभी आपको मिंत्रा ओपन करना है, सर्च करना. अच्छा, ज्वेलरी का उसका दूसरा ऐप खोलो, फिर सर्च करो. फिर आपको कोई ब्यूटी का लिपस्टिक खरीदना है तो आप तीसरा नाइका ओपन करोगे. हियर आपको सिर्फ एक ही ऐप खोलना है और लिपस्टिक सर्च करो कि आपको नाइकी का शू खरीदना है, कि आपको पार्ले-जी खरीदना है, मिल्क खरीदना है. एक ही ऐप पे होगा सारा, वन बायर ऐप. बिकॉज ऑल द बायर एप्स, चाहे वो पेटीएम का हो, चाहे गूगल पे का हो, कि XYZ हो, सबको सप्लाई तो एक ही है. They're seeing the same supply. No one is getting a different supply because open network. All the seller apps are visible to all the buyer apps and they're accessible for all buyer apps. That is important. Once you understand that this is what is happening, then you will realize the power of ONDC. That all, I keep saying, one of the कोई तो एक seller है जिसने I think some kirana store in Bangalore or Kolkata, he came on ONDC and he immediately said कि मेरे पास 20 crore customer है भाई. क्योंकि सामने on the other side the buyer app has to display his products, right? So immediately he has access to 20-30 customers, whatever buyer app has, right? So as a seller app, as someone seller, you're suddenly national. You have access to 30, 40, 50 crore customers, right? And that is the power. As a buyer app, you have suddenly have access to 1 crore, 2 crore products. कुछ करना ही नहीं है, ना कैटलॉग अपलोड करना है, डिस्क्रिप्शन लिखना है, इमेज शूट करना है, कुछ नहीं करना आपको एज ए बायर ऐप. So that's basically the beauty of ONDC. I think it's just that I think we should we should definitely appreciate it. Now of course it's going to be challenging. ऐसा नहीं है कि it's everything is going to go smooth, but it is once it becomes mature and everyone is there on the network, it's going to be amazing. Yeah, one sec, I'm just going to take a few more questions and then I'll go to the continue. How do margins work? See, margin is basically there's a buyer finder fee. So buyer can say that to basically give you this order, I am going to charge you this this whatever 5 rupees, 10 rupees, 5%, 10%. So you can either charge in percentage or you can charge in fixed amount, whatever that is. And it also can be different for different products, different categories, different, those kinds of. So it depends on you what you want to charge for that product. So for buyer app, it basically is a finder fee, and that is disclosed to the seller. So अगर कोई सर्च कर रहा है पार्ले जी और बोल रहा है कि पार्ले जी का दिस ऑर्डर के लिए आई टेक 5 रुपीज, से पार्ले जी 10 रुपए का है मैं नहीं दूंगा, तो you can not respond कि मुझे नहीं बेचना आप पे. You can say that I don't want to sell it to you. If someone is charging buyer app fees like 1 rupee, now again the buyer apps can have different fees, each buyer app can have a different fee, and someone is charging like 0.5, 50 paisa, 25 paisa, and then say, okay, I can sell it to this buyer app, my Parle G, because I have margin of 2 rupees, 3 rupees, whatever that is. So there's a buyer app fee, and then there is a seller app. If you're directly selling, then of course you don't need to give any commission to any seller app. But some sellers will go into ONDC through a seller app, where like a marketplace scenario, where someone as a marketplace can be, for example, Snapdeal is coming up, is joining ONDC. So they'll probably come as a marketplace. So you might have to give, if you're a seller who's coming through Snapdeal into ONDC, then you might have to give Snapdeal some commission, but that is up to you. You can actually, to participate in ONDC, you can participate through any seller app. तो आप बोलोगे अरे 0% कमीशन लेता है, चलो मैं इसके थ्रू एंट्री मारता हूँ rather than someone who is charging me 10%, 20%, right? So that option is there for you, and you don't need to register on multiple seller apps. You have to register through one. एक से entry हो गई, you are into ONDC. You don't have to go to Flipkart, Amazon to participate in ONDC. It can be any seller app. You can, and you yourself can be a seller app. So you don't have to pay anyone any commission then. So yeah, can you show seller app demo? Yeah, I'll just gonna show you few. I think I still have 15 minutes, but I'll show it to you. Seller app demo. If one buys 4 products, there may be 4 sellers, with the buyer pay shipping charges for all 4. If one buys 4 products, there may be 4 sellers. Will the buyer pay shipping charges for all 4? I mean, that is dependent. The product pricing is the two ways to pay shipping. One is the seller is saying my product shipping charges is this. Now that comes from the seller side, that I have 5 rupees, 10 rupees, 20 rupees, and those kind of stuff, right? And that is what buyer app has to pay to the seller. कि भाई ये 15 रुपए मांग रहा है इस प्रोडक्ट की डिलीवरी के लिए, तो उसको 15 रुपए डिलीवरी के मिलेंगे सेलर ऐप को. Buyer app has to ensure. Now buyer app may give discount to customer कि मुझे free shipping देना है. That doesn't impact the seller. Seller को 15 रुपए मिलेगा क्योंकि buyer app, there is a contract which has happened, right? So that is important for you to understand, that seller app has declared the price, seller has declared the shipping, and the buyer app has to pay that shipping and declared price. Buyer app can give any discount they want to give. That is their prerogative. They can give free shipping. They can charge whatever convenience fee, all those things. They can also do that. Yeah. So I think those are the questions I had. I've answered, I think, most of them. Got it. Now let me come back to Q&A. I think ONDC will make the competition to increase, as we all have rates will be displayed to all sellers, and big companies can have dynamic pricing, keeping in mind small seller don't flourish, can change that is less than neighborhood store. So one question I have is that ONDC will make the competition to increase, as all have rates, all people have the rates all the rates will be displayed on for all sellers, and big companies can then have dynamic pricing which means the small store don't flourish and can change that is less than the neighbor store. So basically what I think the question here is that because now my pricing is everyone can see the price, the big platforms, the big seller apps will basically can basically take me out. Now see, I'll tell you what the competition is. You already are into a competition. If you're asking this question, I can tell you that competition to already hey, Big Basket and Blinkit, all these people are already coming, right? The how do you fight these guys? How do you fight where these guys are becoming aggressive and those kind of stuff? First thing is they have a limited. They cannot do this forever, right? They cannot give discounts for forever. Right? Second thing is you you need to get a chance to fight them. Today you don't have a chance to fight them because to fight them you have to come online and give and be visible in front of customer. पहले तो कस्टमर के इन फ्रंट में आना पड़ेगा ना ऑनलाइन आके. वो चांस ही नहीं है अभी आज. वो चांस ही नहीं मिल रहा है आज आपको, क्योंकि उसके लिए आने के लिए आपको वेबसाइट बनाना है, मार्केटिंग करना है, कस्टमर लाने हैं, ऑल दैट करोगे तो फिर बर्न बढ़ेगा. हु हैज दैट काइंड ऑफ मनी काइंड स्टफ, राइट? सो what ONDC at least is giving to you is a chance to come in front of online customer. वो चांस तो मिल रहा है ना अभी आपको ना. उस चांस के बाद आप को इन बड़े प्लेयर से फाइट करना है, राइट? पर एक चांस मिल गया, आप दोनों खड़े हो सामने. पहले तो आप थे ही नहीं सामने, वही दिख रहा था बिग बास्केट, पर आज आप भी खड़े हो. तो आप आपका बिजनेस मॉडल के हिसाब से हो सकता है. सी द थिंग इज लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स वी बिलीव कि वी कैन नॉट फाइट दीज जायंट्स, बट we have a lower cost structure as kirana store. They don't have fancy structures. They some lot of these retail stores are now able to give better pricing than online. Online में actually अभी price ज़्यादा बढ़ गया है compared to offline. Offline में ज़्यादा सस्ता मिलता है. वो already हो चुका है, but आपको पता ही नहीं. As a consumer, you don't know कि offline का price गिर चुका है. You know, uh, but today because you're not allowed to come in front, so ONDC is giving that chance, and with that chance, hopefully you can still fight. I believe that you can still fight because the cost structure of a kirana store is much lower, and they can deliver very fast. People know that store. I see Gupta Chan Kirana store every day. So does that I don't know उसके पास product है कि नहीं, उसका पार्ले जी का price क्या है. Once I know okay it's cheaper than big basket, I'll buy from that. So I think that question of course is a valid question, but I hope I was able to answer it. Now coming to the demo, yes, so seller app demo, I'll tell you where. No, this is where you basically come on Plotch. If you come on, right, you get an option to get here. Basically this is section that you might see, or one of our account manager will work with you to configure this. So you can say that I want to be. You can also of course create your own website application and those kind of stuff, but you will say here, you'll say ONDC, and you will then say that I want which website. Now of course on Plotch it is mandatory that you need to have a website, but as our pricing is there, we charge the same if you have a website or not for ONDC, right? So it's actually literally it's the same price for whether you have a website or not. So there's no extra cost for you to have a website if you want to participate in ONDC. So if your website, the ONDC is free. If your ONDC, if you want to come only for ONDC, the website is free. It's like that. So it's the same price. So you have to basically select a website. For example, I've selected your craftsler.com Plotch, and then you have to say which type of seller app I want to build. Like here, I'll say I want to build a seller app, and then star means that I can deliver everywhere. You can basically for you have to put a STD code. If you deliver only on your Bangalore, in Mumbai, in Delhi. So these are the STD codes you will put in that I deliver in this. So ONDC works on STD code basis for cities. So these are the codes that you have to put. Our team will help you in all this. These are some, of course, your short description, your description of your store, your IDs and those things. Those things will get, those things will come from ONDC that you have to put in. But these are all that you basically need to submit. You have to upload a logo and submit. So this basically is what you need to do to basically submit your request on to ONDC. And then basically once approval comes, then you will get your for example, your unique key ID is something that you will not know right now. It comes on approval. Once approved, then your UKID actually comes. So those things basically is this is how you can basically participate in ONDC. Now, as I said, this is like, if you are in Plotch, you basically, this is what you have to do, nothing else. Now you may wonder, how do I get a seller app? How do I function as a seller app? Now for seller app, basically you have to do the same thing. You just have to come to our product uploader. You have to upload your product, whatever upload process is there, basically, which is basically you have to select your storefront. You know, so this is a 5-step process that we have, that you select a storefront, you select a category, you download the template, upload the template, and review publish. This is for publishing your store. And in somewhere, I think you have to also say that you want to enable ONDC. Now that is a place where um, so product upload is very easy. This is how you upload the product. There's nothing you have to do from ONDC perspective, because we take care of everything, how to push that catalog onto ONDC, and those kind of stuff. So other thing which really you have to do is you have to enable that, I think it's somewhere in storefront instance, that you basically have to enable ONDC for ONDC. So this actually very simple. What I'm showing it to you is simpler process. You don't have to do anything. If you already have website on Plotch, it becomes much easier, because your catalog is already uploaded and everything is uploaded. I think you have to enable ONDC here. That's basically you have to do. You have to enable ONDC and you're done, right? And your orders will come here. If you have any orders, you'll see it here. All your orders, you can basically look at all the orders. You can accept the order, you can cancel the order, whatever. So from a flow perspective, you actually will not even feel that you are doing anything different, because as a seller app, you will upload the catalog. You will see your order, you will accept the order, you will ship the order. All that thing will happen. On the buyer app side, again, you will get the orders here, and your catalog is coming from you, so you don't have to upload a catalog. In buyer app, you don't have to upload any catalog, right? And we actually have a global catalog, ONDC global catalog, which get attached to your storefront, automatically once you. So there's, in the catalog, I think there's a global catalog which gets attached if you're doing sorry, I'm just ONDC global catalog. So you see this catalog is basically is what get attached. So from a buyer app perspective, you don't have to do anything, because this catalog you don't have to populate. So yeah, so this basically is what is if you participate, this is something that you have to do. You have to enable ONDC there. Of course, if you have a website, it's much simpler for you to get onto ONDC. That's why whenever someone who comes and says, I want to build a ONDC buyer app and seller app, we first say, oh, you build a website. And then after that, it's so simple to basically connect to ONDC that you don't have to do anything. And our pricing doesn't change, irrespective whether you have a website or not. For ONDC, or whether you have ONDC or not, your pricing is same. So that's very short. I think we are out of time. I'll just take few questions if you have. Who bears who bears the return cost? Okay, so basically, return is something that either you mean to say whether the customer will bear the seller app will bear the return cost or the buyer app will bear the return cost. Now this can be specified in the contract, that who will who will take the return cost, right? So so usually what happens is that the seller app, this is what I'm saying, usually the seller app will bear the return cost, because the assumption is that there was something happened on the product side because of which the customer is returning. So customer will not bear the return cost, because is usually it's the case that they have some issue with the product. So the seller should take care of it. And same stand buyer app will say, usually it's a seller's problem, that product quality, or it's what the packaging was not good, or those kinds of stuff. The seller app will will take the return cost. Now that is, of course, is usual case. Now, of course, you can say that I will not, I will charge a return cost on customer. Now the customer can, of course, decide not to take from you, from some other seller, because the other seller is is taking care of the return and the return cost, right? So that's something, is just playing in the market. Someone is offering better return policy than others, but these are usually seller side policies. The buyer app side usually will not dictate this. So yeah, I think those are the questions that we had. I hope this was useful to you. We will, of course, do more demos, and with these demos, what we want to take you through is take you through a live ONDC journey. We have been talking about ONDC, what it is, how it will impact, and those kind of stuff. But with these demos, we will take you in real time what is happening. You're not looking at ONDC picture, which is 10 days or 20 days or 30 days behind. You look at ONDC, what is happening today, and you will be able to visualize, how you can play a role and how you can participate. And we will try to make it more smoother and simpler for you to participate. I think with this I'll end, and I hope this was useful, and we'll see you probably next week with more advanced demos and those kind of stuff. Thank you everyone. It's a pleasure speaking. Bye bye.